Tonight on BBC London, cancelled after over 50 years. Lambeth Council says next summer's free country show won't take place due to funding issues, but other events will. Also on the programme tonight, the man who stabbed an Essex policewoman in the head during a psychotic episode is jailed. Actress Pauline Quirk's son begins his 87-mile walk in Chigwell to raise awareness for Alzheimer's. He'll take in some of her favourite haunts along the way.
They've been sitting with the same people for over 20-odd years. It's like a second family, home from home.
And tributes pour in for the Charlton Athletic superfan Norman Barker, who died after being taken ill at their home game this weekend. Good evening and welcome. We start tonight with the news that the Lambeth Country Show, a two-day community event in Brockwell Park that's been running since 1974, will be cancelled next year. The local council says it's due to financial pressure and cancelling it will save them £1 million. It follows questions over the legality of holding major events in the park, which also include the festival's Mighty Hoopla and Field Day. Alpa Patel reports.
Brockwell Park today. Well used, even in the wet and wind. It's essential green space for this community. The news today that the Lambeth Country Show, a flagship free event, has been scrapped by the council for budget reasons, has come as a shock for some.
Yeah, it's a real shame, particularly as I think the other ones are going ahead. Festivals as a whole have a really big impact on the community.
Do you think there'll be a blow to the community?
I think it really will, yes. And they have all those other shows on, so that's supposed to make them quite a lot of money. And last year, I'm sure I heard that they were saying they had the other big paying ones to pay for the country show. I think it's really sad.
Back in May, campaigners won a High Court challenge over the use of the park for events such as the Mighty Hoopla, which attracts tens of thousands of people. Campaigners from the Protect Brockwell Park group say they are disappointed the council has cancelled the free country show.
We've been campaigning for there to be a balance in this park between the primary use of the park for openness and people to enjoy a park, and that needs to be balanced with things like events. And we're shut out of the commercial events. They cost hundreds of pounds and they damage the park. Last year the council justified those events, the commercial events, by saying we give you the Lambeth Country Show. Now they're taking that away.
This was the only free show that people could attend for free.
That's right, and it costs us a huge amount of money that we're saying right now, with the budget challenges we face, with the tough choices we face, we cannot justify putting in over £1 million into the country show, because that would mean cutting frontline workers.
Other critics have said that the country show doesn't have to cost £1 million, that it could be scaled back. Why isn't that an option rather than cancelling it altogether?
The reality is that this year, Brockwell Live have told us that their costs have increased, and so they cannot subsidise the country show to the extent that they have in the past few years.
But others say this move impacts the wider local economy.
So the use of parks is vitally important, particularly for London. There are so many people that rely heavily on it. The amount of people they employ, the input in terms of the cultural landscape from freelancers, technicians, artists, event staff. It's hugely important also for the visitor economy.
So the show is over for now, but campaigners hope it might return in the future. Alpa Patel, BBC London.
A man who stabbed a policewoman in the head during a psychotic episode in an attack described as something from a Scream film has been given an 8-year sentence. Declan Diedrich from Harlow attacked the officer when she and another colleague tried to get him to put down a 7-inch knife in December 2023. This report from Stuart Woodward contains footage that some viewers may find upsetting.
Urgent assistance required!
This is the moment Declan Diedrich was arrested after lashing out at a female police officer with a knife. PC Holly Matthews and Acting Police Sergeant Gemma Sandy had responded to concern for Deirdre's welfare, his brother saying he was having a psychotic episode. The officers tried to take the knife off him, but Deirdre hit out several times, striking PC Matthews above her ear with a serrated blade. In a victim impact statement, PC Matthews told the court that she joined Essex Police to be part of something that helps, something that runs towards the danger when everyone else runs away. But as well as her physical injuries, she spoke of her psychological trauma, saying that she replays the incident every day in her mind, adding that she sees Deirdre's face on other people, filled with anger and rage. The judge paid tribute to the bravery of both officers involved, as did Essex Police, whose officers were assaulted almost 1,300 times last year. That's more than 3 times a day.
Despite everything those officers went through, they remain on frontline duties today and still serve the public of Harlow. This exemplifies the incredible bravery of all our officers trying to do their best for the people they serve.
A jury found Deirdre guilty of assault causing GBH, although he was cleared of 2 counts of the more serious charge of attempted murder. The judge acknowledged that Deirdre had been suffering from undiagnosed mental health problems at the time of the incident, and both he and his family had been seeking professional medical help in the months beforehand, but to no avail. His paranoia on the day in question, exacerbated by the taking of illegal drugs, meant that he felt that he was in danger when the officers arrived, rather than them trying to help him. But the judge said that he still posed a significant risk to others, giving him an extended sentence of 8 years, with 5 to be served in prison and the other 3 on licence. Stuart Woodward, BBC London, Chelmsford Crown Court.
Lots more to come tonight, including the son of the Birds of a Feather star, Pauline Quirk, begins his near 90-mile charity walk after his mum was diagnosed with dementia.
As a new visitor attraction opens in Covent Garden, we'll find out how one of Ireland's most famous exports has historic links to London.
The Metropolitan Police is warning of dangerous criminals being left untagged and out-of-control repeat offenders being released on bail because of pressures on the criminal justice system. In a report to the London Policing Board, Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley says urgent action is needed to address problems. Last week, the government announced a raft of changes to help tackle the Crown Court backlog. Well, let's find out more from our political editor, Carl Mercer, who joins me here. Pretty strong words from Sir Mark there. He's frustrated with the current situation, it seems.
Yeah, very. He talks about a collapse in trust and confidence in the criminal justice system. He says it has been underfunded by successive governments. And here's a quote for you. He says, "The stretch and strain are now increasingly evident." And as evidence for that, as you said in your introduction there, he talks about tagging. He says 30% of people in London who should have a tag fitted currently do not have one fitted. He also says every week 150 people who are tagged breach their tag conditions, which means the police have to do lots more follow-up. So he's calling for an action plan, and he says all of those who aren't tagged should be tagged immediately, without delay, his words. And he says that the consequences for those who do breach their tag regulations should be made very clear indeed. He also points to another thing that he says is worrying him. This is young criminal offenders. And he says they are too often being bailed, and these are 10 to 19-year-olds, often knife offenders. He said, despite clear risk to themselves and others and a rapid escalation in their criminal activity. He says urgent corrective action is needed.
Well, we heard from the Justice Secretary, David Lammy, didn't we, last week, talking about the need to reform the courts.
Yes, and there's more on that from Sir Mark Rowley, more evidence as well about the situation here in the capital. The government's concern is there are long delays in getting cases through the Crown Courts. Sir Mark says in his report there are 5 cases in the capital which won't be heard until 2030, 600 cases that won't be heard until 2029, and nearly 1,200 that will have to wait another 3 years before they are heard. We are failing to deliver swift and effective justice in all these cases, says the Met Police Commissioner.
Strong words indeed. Carl, thanks very much indeed for that update. Thank you. Well, tributes have been paid to this Charlton Athletic supporter, Norman Baker, who collapsed at Saturday's match against Portsmouth. Known affectionately as Headphones Norm, he was taken ill during the 12th minute of the game. He received medical treatment at the ground before being taken to hospital, where he later died. He'd been a season ticket holder for decades and was presented with the Supporter of the Year accolade in July. Harry Lowe's been talking to his friends and fellow fans.
I've been sitting with the same people for over 20 odd years. It's like a second family, home from home. When there's a game on Saturday afternoon, I've got to be here.
Norman Barker had been going to the Valley since 1968, and it was while watching his beloved Charlton on Saturday he collapsed, causing the match against Portsmouth to be abandoned. He later died in hospital.
I've been chaplain here for 25 years, and it's the first time I can remember that something like this has happened during the course of the game. And so in 25 years, this is the first time. We all hope it never happens again.
The man affectionately known as Headphones Norm will be deeply missed in this corner of SE7.
We use the word legend in football too frequently, but Norm was a terrace legend for all the right reasons. Quiet, unassuming, but the passion just for that one club, Charlton Athletic. You know, he epitomised all the good points that you would want in a football fan at Charlton. Lovely guy, unassuming, quiet and calm, even when things on the football pitch weren't going brilliantly.
His relatives said Norman was thrilled to be named Supporter of the Year in July and had brought his trophy to a recent family party. They said he died doing what he loved. The club plans to celebrate his life.
We'll pay tribute to Norm, the game tomorrow at Middlesbrough and future games as well. It's still very early and very raw. There's plenty of ideas and ways that we will make sure that Norman's memory lives on here at the Valley that he cherished so much.
Addicts fans won't forget the man who was always to be found at Valley Floyd Road.
Personally, I'm gutted, but this isn't about me. This is about a fellow fan, you know, and we need to remember Norm in the way that we'll remember him. That guy, that hat, that clobber, yeah, that's Norm. Lovely guy, will be missed.
Harry Lowe reporting there. Now, 3 people with a history of homelessness have died in Camden after taking a powerful new synthetic drug called cyclophene. There's still a lot of unknown about the substance, but outreach services say they've been given little to no information and fear the real death toll may be higher. Here's Lakshmi Gopal with more on the story.
The new synthetic drug that's causing concern is an opioid called cyclophene. The drug has now been linked to 3 reported deaths of Londoners believed to have been homeless. All 3 deaths were in the borough of Camden and all in the space of just 10 days. Homelessness charities fear the true figure could be higher and want more information put out.
We're very worried because there's people that we know that are dying. And we need to be warning people. People on the streets aren't aware of what's happening here. There's dangerous drugs out there. We need people to be more publicly speaking about this. This is a red alert. We need to act urgently. We need to act immediately. We can save lives, but we need to work together on this.
So that's the message from a Camden-based service for homeless people. Let's look now at the wider picture. This is official data showing the number of deaths by drugs overall across the whole population of London. It's measured as a rate per million people. As you can see, it had fallen since the 1990s, more so for women, the red line, than for men, the blue line. But have a look now at what happens after the pandemic. The rate of drug deaths soars. London has had a bigger rate of increase than any other region in England or Wales. The latest data goes up to 2024, when 662 people died from drugs. And now, of course, the next set of data will include deaths from this new drug, cyclophene. Camden Council told me it's working with police to get help to those vulnerable to dangerous drugs. And this includes life-saving medication, drop-in sessions, dedicated services for women, outreach prescriptions and support with key workers. Of course, with so little known about this drug, improving knowledge and awareness of it may be just as important.
Lakshmi Gopal there. Well, a quick look at some other news now. And a man's been charged with murder following the fatal stabbing of a university student from Essex. 18-year-old Henry Novak from Chafford 100 was a first-year student at Southampton University. His family say he'd been on a night out with his football teammates on Wednesday night. 2 more people have been arrested in connection with a suitcase robbery in which pepper spray caused injuries at Heathrow Airport. It follows a woman being robbed of her suitcase and discharging pepper spray in a lift in a car park at Heathrow yesterday. 5 people were taken to hospital and 16 others needed medical treatment at the scene, including a 3-year-old girl. 1 person's been taken to hospital after a low-speed collision involving a convoy transporting President Zelensky in Westminster. The President was on his way to a meeting with the Prime Minister at number 10 when the accident involving a media vehicle occurred. Now, tens of millions of pints of the black stuff are drunk in London every year. And now it's to get a new home in Covent Garden. An enormous new Guinness storehouse is due to open its doors this week with interactive attractions, a tasting room and guided history tours. But with the project being around 2 years behind schedule, will good things come to those who wait? Wendy Hurrell has been to have a look.
Touted as a multi-million-pound vote of confidence in the capital when it was announced in 2022, Guinness Open Gate Brewery is finally, well, opening its gates on Thursday. A series of setbacks, including a contractor going bust, delayed this by almost 3 years. But it's nearly ready, and it's massive.
54,000 square feet, so it is a large site. 4 separate buildings, 5 separate areas, and very excited to say that it's created 250 jobs, which we're really proud of.
They believe it's good for the brand, for London as a whole, and for Covent Garden, once home to beer making.
So we are standing in the historic Woodyard, and Woodyard historically has always been the home of brewing here in London from the 1740s right up until 1905. So in a way, we are bringing brewing back to Covent Garden.
That's amazing. And it was these very buildings, it was all happening.
They were chosen because they have very deep wells right into the city. So it was a selection of breweries, and the brewery that we have made our new home was the site of the old Coombe & Co brewery here in London.
There was a dark beer made in London in the 1700s called porter. Arthur Guinness made it into the famous stout.
So in fact, Guinness is more London than Irish.
Oh, well, I wouldn't go that far.
Now there's a brewery on site again, not making the famous Irish export, but experimenting under the brand name.
We're actually standing in front of our brew house at the moment, our 4-vessel brew house. This is the part of the process where we add grain and hops. This one is just a lighter drinking IPA. It's one of our brewers' favorites. Classic IPA hops.
I'm so tempted, but it's Monday morning.
Industrial heritage meets modern cultural space. Could this Irish brewing giant help increase footfall, retail and hospitality in the capital? Wendy Hurrell, BBC London.
Taking a look at some other local stories on the BBC News app now, where you live. Work to repair or replace a footbridge spanning the River Thames between Berkshire and Buckinghamshire won't start for at least another year. Temple Bridge has been closed for 2 years. In Hertfordshire, tributes have been paid to a cat who was well loved amongst commuters. Nala was a familiar sight at Stevenage Station and had a large following on social media. And if you missed it on Friday's programme, take a look at the Christmas trail lighting up London. And what's more, it's absolutely free. For more on those local stories and many more, do head over to the BBC News app. Now, the son of the Birds of a Feather star, Pauline Quirke, has begun a 90-mile walk to raise funds for Alzheimer's UK after his mum was diagnosed with dementia. Charlie Quirke set off from Chigwell, the Essex town forever associated with Birds of a Feather, and Pauline's co-star, Linda Robson, was among those waiting to see him off. Tim Muffet has been speaking to both of them.
Where it all began, Lynn?
It is, all them years ago.
Sometimes a chat in a pub can be life-changing.
We used to come in here all the time for lunch and everything, and then one day Lawrence and Morris, so it's Lawrence Marks and Morris Gran, rang and said, would you like to meet us at the Albion? We've got an idea for a series for you. They were in a hotel for Christmas and they heard these 2 women talking about their husbands being in prison, and that's where the idea for Birds of a Feather came up.
My needs are greater than hers, as are my blisters. Oh, think I'll have to pull out the London Marathon, Trace. Well, I can't give it to an air, can I? Second hand. No, it's not. Second foot.
We'd grown up since we were 10 years old and we both went to the same school. There were so many things over the years that we did together. Then we got asked to do Birds of a Feather at the BBC, and remember we got a 76 bus to the studios, and the pair of us are going, I'd rather be in the dentist now, have my teeth pulled out, I'd rather be in labour, because we were so nervous about doing the show.
Did it become obvious right from the beginning that this was going to be a massive, massive show?
It was sort of like overnight, really. We were sort of recognised everywhere we went.
What I love is just two girls from Islington completely phoning at the deep end and doing it together, which is nice.
In 2021, when she was 62, Pauline was diagnosed with dementia. Earlier this year, her family shared the news.
What do you make of what Charlie's about to embark on?
We love Charlie, honestly. I've known him since he was in the womb, really, so yeah, he's a good boy.
You know, this trek is about the history of my mum's career and her life, and it's just nice to be here with Lynn and, you know, get the ball rolling on the trek and memories and stuff.
This morning, surrounded by family and friends in Chigwell in Essex, where Birds of a Feather was set, Charlie's trek got underway. Over the next 5 days, Charlie will be walking to the places that have shaped his mum's life. Homes, theatres, TV studios, places where she's lived and worked. 140 kilometres of milestones and memories. Tim Muffet, BBC London.
Good luck to Charlie there. Now, the creators of the much-loved children's book We're Going on a Bear Hunt have teamed up to bring readers a new seasonal story. Written by the former Children's Laureate Michael Rosen, it follows the story of a cat whose family can't afford to feed it. It'll feature in this week's Big Issue and is aiming to raise awareness about living in poverty. Victoria Cook spoke to the author and illustrator Helen Oxenbury about the new story.
Well, the Big Issue does fantastic work with people who, you know, are having a hard time, extremely hard times. And so I wanted to overlap with that idea, if you like. And in this particular story, you get a sense that somehow or other they're going to come together over Christmas. So there's a bit of wishful thinking on my part. You can have wishful thinking in stories, and hoping that people, no matter how tough they're finding it, will find some joy, some communality, some little convivial spirit or another over Christmas. I hope so, anyway.
And Helen, the illustrations, they convey their own meanings and messages and emotions, don't they?
One hopes they do, yes, yes. I think illustrators can tell the story on their own, pretty much.
Don't really need words, do you? Yeah.
But I was going to say, Michael, but they certainly can add to the text.
Yeah. It's lovely. You know those Dutch interiors where you see through and through and through? Well, that's what Helen's done here. So you're outside and you're looking over the shoulder of Mum and Evie, and then we're looking through the fence and through the window into the room.
Is there going to be any more from you two?
Couldn't possibly say.
No.
No, I mean, there are major top secrets that lie in the heart of Whitehall.
Yes.
And this is one of them, really.
Yes.
We couldn't possibly say that we're doing another, but no, I don't. Yeah, it nearly slipped out.
What's it been like working together again after all these years, not just on this Big Issue piece, but the new book too?
Oh, absolutely God. Terrible. It's been awful, hasn't it? Yeah.
Different from 1989 then?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful working with Helen. She is very, very special. Yes. She is genuinely a treasure in the children's book world. She has done wonderful, wonderful things. She's been a pioneer. Yes. And she is so expressive with the human and animal form to convey emotion with the shape of somebody and so on. It's wonderful,
thank you,
Helen.
Michael.
No.
And you're
Sincerely
not bad yourself.
Well, that's very kind of you to say.
Victoria Cook chatting with Michael Rosen and Helen Oxenbury there. Now, before we go, for the first time in 600 years in London, you might spot one of these in our skies next year. A breeding colony of white storks will be reintroduced to the capital as part of a rewilding project. The native birds, which were driven to extinction in Britain in the 1400s, will be located in Easterbrook and Country Park in Dagenham from October. Well, with that, let's get a check on the weather. And Gillian's here. Hi there.
Hello, good evening. It is turning wetter and windier as we head through the course of tonight. We have had some dry weather today, but it's largely been pretty grey for most of us. This picture sent in a little bit earlier in the city, very grey. Not a lot of sunshine either. We've also had some pretty heavy downpours. This here taken in Twickenham. You've definitely needed your brolly and your raincoats today. And that won't change as we head towards tomorrow, because tonight we are going to start to see this heavy rain push in, and there will be some pretty gusty winds to go with it too. So this is the detail and the setup. This low down here, known as Storm Bram, it's been named, is going to set its way northwards and eastwards overnight. So some very gusty winds alongside that, and some very heavy bursts of rain. So through the course of tonight, you'll gradually see this rain building in, very heavy at times for us. Those wind gusts over 40 miles an hour, 11 or 12 degrees. It's going to be a mild start to the day tomorrow, and you'll notice we don't really get rid of that rain till a little bit later in the morning. It does start to break up slightly, but it will leave some heavy showers behind it and quite a lot of cloud once again. You'll also see those wind gusts still over 45 miles an hour for some heavy showers to come later in the afternoon. So another pretty grey, unsettled day. Gradually we will start to lose that rain through the course of the evening and overnight. So it will turn clearer, 1 or 2 little showers behind it. Still quite blustery though, those wind gusts over 30 miles an hour, 8 or 9 degrees, not quite as mild, but still on the mild side, enough to start the day on Wednesday. Now what you will notice is that low moves away. We do start to see something a little bit drier for a time, but those wind gusts are still going to be noticeable as we head into Wednesday itself. So it leaves us looking a bit like this Wednesday morning, 1 or 2 little showers, but through the afternoon a bit more in the way of sunshine, still breezy. We could see 14 or 15 degrees. So for the outlook this week, it's a bit unsettled to sum it up, to be honest. Our temperatures staying in double figures. There will be some spells of sunshine on Wednesday and Thursday, but some showers at times, particularly towards the end of the week. Victoria.
And certainly not chilly. Thanks very much indeed. Now tonight's main headlines. Talks between Ukraine's President Zelensky and his European allies at Downing Street have concluded, with Sir Keir Starmer saying, "We stand with Ukraine." The leaders discussed the latest peace plan, which Washington is pushing Kyiv to accept. The former footballer Joey Barton has been given a 6-month suspended prison sentence for creating grossly offensive social media posts. They were directed at the broadcaster Jeremy Vine and the football pundits Lucy Ward and Enai Aluko. Lambeth Council has cancelled the country show in Brockwell Park, a free event that has run for more than 50 years. The council say the move will save them more than £1 million. That's about it from me. Head to our website though for all the day's news. We'll be back with our later programme at 10:30. But for now, from all of us, we wish you a very good evening. Bye-bye.